Python is multi-paradigm programming language. It supports different programming approaches. One of the popular approaches to solve programming problem is by creating objects. This is known as object-oriented programming. The concept of object-oriented programming focuses on creating reusable code. Object has two characteristics, attributes and behavior. Let's take example. Dog is object and it has following properties: name and age as attributes and running and sleeping as behavior. Object is simply collection of data and methods that act on those data. Similarly, class is blueprint for that object. We can think of class as sketch or prototype of house. It contains all the details about floors, doors, windows, etc. Based on these descriptions, we build the house. House is the object. As many houses can be made from house blueprint, we can create many objects from class. Object is also called instance of class. The first string inside the class is called docstring, and it has brief description of the class. Although not mandatory, this is highly recommended. Here is simple class definition. Class creates new local namespace where all its attributes are defined. Attributes may be data or functions. Class can be used to create new object instances of that class. The procedure to create object is similar to function call. It will create new object instance named house. We can access the attributes of objects using the object name prefix. Attributes may be data or method. Methods of object are corresponding functions of that class. Let's check the example from the slide. Firstly, we create new object of house class. Then we print value of size attribute. And finally, we call greet method and output will be hello owner. You may have noticed the self parameter in function definition inside the class, but we call the method simply without any arguments. It still works. This is because whenever object calls its method, the object itself is passed as the first argument. So the first argument of function in class must be the object itself. This is conventionally called self. It can be named otherwise, but it's highly recommended to follow the convention. Class functions that begin with double underscore are called special functions, and they have special meaning. Particular interest is init function. This is special function gets called whenever new object of that class is instantiated. This type of function is also called constructor in object-oriented programming. We normally use it to initialize all the variables. In the example, we defined new class to represent rectangle. It has two functions, init to initialize the variables, defaults to 0, and getData to display the data. As you can see, we have created rectangle object 3 times. In the first case, the program has printed 0 and 0, because we haven't passed any parameters to the constructor and default values are 0. For the second object, we have 5 and 10, and for the third, 5 and 0. Any attribute of object can be deleted anytime using the del statement. On the slide, you can see the example of removing data attribute and method. We can even delete the object itself, as is shown in the second image. Actually, it's more complicated than that. When we create new object of rectangle, it's created in memory and the name rect binds with it. On the command del rect, this binding is removed, and the name rect is deleted from the corresponding namespace. The object, however, continues to exist in memory, and if no other name is bound to it, it's later automatically destroyed. This automatic destruction of unreferenced object is also called garbage collection.